Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dennis Powell, who is here on behalf of the American Legion Post 257. Well, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's really good to be here, especially for the 4th of July, which is one of the more important holidays, probably the most for the American Legion.
Well, and that's why we thought it would be great to have you on where we can just chit-chat about the American Legion, some things as to why it's important to recognize them, as well as recognize what Independence Day definitely is for you guys, you as well as the country.
Right.
So we're glad you could join us. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Dennis.
Well, I grew up in Milwaukee, and I went to the same grade school, high school, and college, which is the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, that my father went to.
Wow.
And I just found out Willem Dafoe went there too. They just honored him with an honorary degree.
Okay.
He was about 10 years behind me. But I'm a citizen soldier. My family doesn't really have a military tradition. My great-great-grandfather, John Powell, was a 16-year-old private in the Union Army. But until World War II, nobody else served. My grandfather was married with children and building trucks during World War I, so he wasn't called on. Mm-hmm. My father was smart. He began college at 16 after skipping a couple of grades, but he dropped out at 18 in 1931 due to the Depression. Mm-hmm. And after 9 years of Depression, he enlisted in the Army at 25 in 1940, a year and a half before we went into the war. Mm-hmm. He was funny. He said they sent him out to Colorado for basic training, and they put him all on skis behind a Finn instructor, and he'd never been on skis. He actually got pneumonia and almost passed away. He was, I think, the first person the military treated with sulfa, and he survived. But then by 42, he was a staff sergeant, and he applied for OCS so he could afford to marry my mother, mm-hmm. and he became an officer.
Okay.
And then they made him a training officer, and he was in for the duration of World War II and never left the States, so he was lucky. Mm-hmm. I had a low draft number. I started college in 1966, and I enrolled in ROTC because I didn't want to go to Vietnam as a private.
Gotcha.
So I went through 4 years of it, and they were firebombing the campus with all of the demonstrations. I used to get up in the student union and debate with Students for a Democratic Society every Thursday in my uniform. Mm-hmm. And I was commissioned. I took an extra year to get my degree, hoping Vietnam would be over. By 66, I was all gung-ho at 18. By 68 or 69, we didn't even realize that McNamara and Johnson knew we couldn't win the war, but didn't tell us. But anyway, so I was commissioned in February of '71, and the war still wasn't over. Mm-hmm. And I was assigned to the Signal Corps. I actually did very well in ROTC. I was lucky because they gave me my first choice of branch. I chose Signal. Mm-hmm. Because I was a communications person, mm-hmm. and my first choice of duty station, which was, I chose Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, where the signal school was, and they offered me a regular Army commission instead of reserve, and had me scheduled for airborne and ranger, and I said, no, thank you very much. If it had been peacetime, I might have for the challenge, but then again, I might not, because my attitude has always been, why jump out of a perfectly good airplane that wasn't on fire?
Exactly.
So anyway, when I go back to my family history, we do have a long military history. I'm eligible to join Sons of the Revolution. Okay. I could join the Mayflower Society, mm-hmm. because one of my direct ancestors came over on the Mayflower. Wow. And in Ancestry.com, going back, the earliest entry I found was Sir Robert the 11th Powell in Wales somewhere. Mm. He must have supported the wrong king because eventually they went from Wales to England because England took over Wales, yeah. and then they emigrated here. Right. So I'm a citizen soldier. I never wanted to be a warrior. I wanted to be able to be a warrior in case I had to be. Mm-hmm. I don't feel guilty about not having been sent. I thought they were going to send me for sure. I was a second lieutenant,
Yeah.
single. So I jokingly say my family has a tradition: everybody serves, but nobody goes. But that, unless you have to, they send you. So it's been a big part of my life because 4 years of ROTC is pretty comprehensive.
Yes, it is.
And then I served 2 years of active duty, and there was such a glut of people getting out at the end of Vietnam. I was never assigned to a reserve unit, so I was done. Technically, every officer has a 6-year commitment.
Yeah.
So, I would have gone to the meetings, but I wasn't assigned. So I thought long and hard about joining the reserve, but during a crisis, you're off taking care of other people and not your family.
Right.
That's the reason I didn't.
Right.
So,
right. So then you married when?
Actually, 1985.
Oh, okay.
Not till I got out here. I got out of the Army in '73. Got my first radio job in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. Contrary to what you might hear, everyone says you got to start in Podunk and work your way up.
That's true.
I started in New York. I worked my whole career in New York for 3 years, Chicago for 4, and then LA for 30. Mm-hmm. So
wow.
We just moved down here 3 years ago because of the homeless and crime situation in West Hollywood, where we lived for 30 years.
Right. Now, you said you were doing radio in LA. What station?
Well, I was predominantly Kiss FM, Rick Dees in the morning.
No kidding.
When he was the dominant #1 radio personality in LA, and the station was the top billing radio station in the country. We were selling $2,000 spots instead of $50 spots.
Wow.
So which is more fun. But primarily, I've stayed on the sales side. I've done some on-air work. I've done some commercials. I did a half a dozen commercials in college. Mm-hmm. First, they made me a hand model, and then I got in with a photographer, and I started getting phone calls. So I was doing some of that, along with working in restaurants and ROTC and my fraternity and everything else.
Right.
So the result was I wasn't that great of a student, but I did enough to get through.
Well, that's good. And you said you mentioned you're part of ROTC. Now, obviously, you're with the American Legion. I mean, why is it important for those who served in war or even serve in the military, to talk to our young people today?
Well, I think people are losing a sense of their civics duties and understanding because they're not being taught in school anymore. Mm-hmm. I think one of the big problems of all the women going back to work is now the families aren't raising the children. They're letting the schools do it. Mm-hmm. And they're not really equipped to do it. They certainly aren't equipped to do it. They don't know how you think or feel about your children, nor do they care. So I'm very disturbed by what we're seeing in the schools, but I'm disturbed by what's going on all over the country because I feel like our most sacred values are under attack by other Americans.
Today, we really want to talk about the American Legion.
Yes.
And we wanted to, kind of give us an idea of what they're all about.
Well, the Legion was formed right after World War I in France. Chapter 1 is in Paris. It was formed in 1919. The veterans got together to, it's primarily an organization to recognize and honor the sacrifices of our forefathers. Mm-hmm. What really makes me angry is when people are attacking Americanism, yes, which is what we stand for. And I'm going to read our preamble to the Constitution of the American Legion. All right. Because the Legion is not political. We are not allowed to talk about Republicans or Democrats or liberals or conservatives, but we are patriotic. Mm-hmm. And we do talk about that. At every one of our dinner meetings, I read this preamble to the Constitution of the American Legion, if I may. For God and country, we associate ourselves together for the following purposes: to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. I took an oath to do that. Mm-hmm. I would still do that. To maintain law and order, to foster and perpetuate a 100% Americanism, to preserve the memories and incidents of our associations in all wars, to inculcate And that's a word you don't hear very often. A sense of individual obligation to the community, state, and nation to combat the autocracy of both the classes and the masses, which is what we're experiencing right now. To make right the master of might. I believe in the Almighty. I'm not an extremely religious person, but I am a Christian. And I like to say my faith may be weak, but my hope is very strong. I try to live a good life.
Exactly.
The classes and the masses. To make right the master of might, to promote peace and goodwill on earth, to safeguard and transmit to posterity the principles of justice, freedom, and democracy. Finally, to consecrate and sanctify our comradeship by our devotion to mutual helpfulness. We are a patriotic organization. I'm finding some difficulty with not being political currently, because when you have other Americans attacking Americanism, isn't that political? You know, and it's what we believe in. It's what we have and would be willing to fight for, and die for. And whatever happened to the shining city on the hill? Everybody wants to come to America, but I'm finding people that are coming, especially those that are pouring over the border, they don't want to be Americans. They just want to be in America.
Right.
You know, and that isn't right. We need to get control of our borders. No one has any problem with legal immigration.
Well, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
I don't have any, regardless of race, they always want to interject racial issues, and you know, sometimes I'm at a loss to comfort it. But I don't hate anybody, but I love my values, and I oppose anybody who opposes, especially other Americans,
Right.
If they oppose and attack Americanism.
Right. Read the last sentence again on that little card there. Tell me what that says again.
To consecrate and sanctify our comradeship by our devotion to mutual helpfulness.
So
it
the
just
last
means
part, the devotion for mutual...
to mutual helpfulness.
Correct.
Whatever I can do, if you need help,
Right.
you're not alone.
But that's always been kind of the basis for anything that we do, right? And I think that is something that we need to promote more.
Absolutely. You know, in previous generations, before America became so mobile and families became so spread out, there was more cohesiveness in society because there was more cohesiveness in the family.
Right, and you had mentioned that already, and I think that, you know, with Independence Day coming up, July 4th, people are going to be getting together with their families. They're going to be, you know, getting together with relatives and friends, and hopefully to reiterate what it means to be an American, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, the Legion, when the Legion was formed, they incorporated the Poppy poem,
That's right.
which was written by a British Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae while serving on the front lines. And it's only 3 stanzas, but most people have probably heard it before. In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky. I get worked up when I read this. The larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. So we distribute, we give away these poppies.
And that's in the month of May, right?
No, we do it in, Memorial Day, correct, May, and on Veterans Day in November, twice a year.
Okay.
The week prior to both of those holidays, Memorial Day and Veterans Day, you'll see the people like myself with the hat distributing the poppies. We don't sell them, but we do request a donation of any amount.
Perfect.
And every penny goes towards programs for veterans.
Nice.
We have 2 funds, a Poppy Fund, which has to be spent on veterans, and then we have our Post Fund that we can use for our events or whatever.
Now, before we talk about any events or activities that the American Legion is going to be having here in the next several months, tell me what you hope everyone will do for July 4th, for Independence Day, be it reflection, celebration, whatever it is.
Well, I like to see people fly the flag on the 4th of July. I feel bad because we're renting in the village now. We didn't buy yet.
Okay.
When we sold our house in LA, we bought other income properties with the money because we weren't with what's going on politically and everything. My wife's actually talking about looking at moving to Portugal or Costa Rica, which I don't think I could ever do.
Right, right.
But if it gets any more crazy.
Right. So 4th of July.
Oh, 4th of July. I think it's most important to celebrate the holiday. If you can't do it with family, do it with friends. I think it's the most important holiday that we have because it's independent. What America is free. You know, what America stands for is the individual, not the collective. We feel it's more important to let 100 guilty people go free rather than incarcerate one innocent person. Socialists feel the opposite. They'd rather scoop up 100 people as long as they're confident they have the right one. And that's all of our personal freedoms. I don't understand anyone attacking freedom of speech. I have never encountered a person who didn't want to speak up.
Right. Regardless of what it was you're talking about.
Exactly, because everyone has opinions about everything.
Right.
Plus, we are not creatures of logic. People primarily are creatures of emotion.
Yes.
So we react to what we hear with whether we agree with it and how we feel about it.
Right.
Not, okay, this is an academic question that I should be able to ponder and consider and reject or accept, because people don't work that way.
Right.
So I think it's important to celebrate, enjoy, and stand up for what you believe in, stick up for your values, and be proud to be an American and to exercise Americanism.
Perfect. Now, in order for someone to find out about the American Legion, of course, they can contact you, but you have meetings. Tell me about the meetings and where they're held.
Well, we have an executive board meeting at the beginning of every month, and then we have a full member dinner meeting on the 4th Thursday of every month in Clubhouse 1 at 5 p.m.
Okay.
Now, most of our members know who to call, but if for anyone that has questions, they can call me.
Okay.
And I can either answer the questions or refer them to someone who can. And my phone is 310-770-4139. I brought my LA number down. So you can't tell where anybody's calling from anymore because they're taking your area codes with them.
Right, incognito.
So we do that in Clubhouse 1, fourth Thursday of every month, but we are dark in July and August for vacation season. We have no meetings. Our next meetings will be in September.
Perfect.
So we do get new members all the time, which helps with our membership because we are losing our aging veterans.
Sure.
And I'm not as young as I used to be either.
Well, that's okay. And there is a slide I did want to say, because you said you're raising money and you're trying to get more applications. There is a gal, her name is Patricia Barr.
Yeah, Pat Burr, B-U-R-R.
Yeah.
Pat's a real gem. She's the president of our auxiliary. The Legion Auxiliary is comprised of relatives, spouses, children, siblings of relatives. So if you're not, the Legion used to be open only to veterans that served during wartime. They've changed that. I think there aren't as many because since the military went volunteer in the 70s, there's not as big a pool to draw on. Gotcha. But anyone who has been honorably discharged from the military, any of the militaries, for any length of time, you are eligible to join the Legion.
Okay.
Our Legion is reasonable. It's only $45 a month. I've heard of some that go up as high as $150, but ours isn't that big.
Right.
We have about 100 memberships. And what's great about living in the village is there's 250 clubs, so if you can't find something to do,
you can always join the American Legion.
You can join the Legion.
Go. Well, Dennis, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of the information, and the beliefs and the feelings that you have for this 4th of July.
Whatever happened to God Bless America?
Well, you
know?
can say it right now.
I just did. And
Okay.
so just the thing about the Legion is we are patriotic.
Exactly.
And we've served. And we encourage other people to. And I'm kind of glad my nephews didn't get drafted to go to Iraq or
Right.
Afghanistan.
Right.
But had they, that would have been their choice. And because I think freedom isn't free.
Okay.
We have to continue to protect it by doing whatever it takes.
All right.
So I want to thank you for having me here today. I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. Enjoy yourselves, celebrate America.
There you go.
And God bless you all, and God bless America.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right. If you want more information about the American Legion and our post right here in Laguna Woods, 257, you can call the number on our screen and ask Dennis for more information. We'll be right back.
Hold it.